greet someone with your eyes, with your smiles, even with just a prayer, a silent prayer. As I do this song, it's called Go Within. It's instrumental, but it's just for today. Thank you.
Funny.
Thank you. Thank you for that reflection. Go within. And I'm going to pass it to someone who knows how to greet you, how to open our doors, open our minds, and open our hearts. Give thanks.
Good morning, OCSL. Thank you very much, Kev, for such a wonderful beginning to service today. So I am Maureen French, and I will be your host for today's service. Welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that nourish us, uplift us, and celebrate our oneness with all of life. Thank you for being here. Welcome to those of you joining us on Zoom today. Hi from the ethers of Zoom. And also special thanks to, or welcome to the people joining us for the very first time. We're very happy to have you here. If you would like to learn more about the center, please email Constance Chapman, our administrative coordinator, at constance@oaklandcsl.org. In order to maintain a sacred space during our service this morning, I invite you to please mute your microphone and to turn off your video so that we can have a smooth service. Now, let's take a moment to bless our children. Let's all take a deep breath together. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. You are Spirit's gift to us, Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. Now, for the long-awaited announcements. It's good to know what's going on in our center, right? So here we go. September is Coastal Cleanup Month. Some of us do trash hikes, neighborhood cleanups, etc. Now is the time to show some extra love to Mother Earth. Contact the loving stewards of Mother Earth Ministry, Beth Van Arkel or Reinhardt Jolie, and check the website under events for more information. Now's the time to make sure that Mother Earth knows that we love her. Next Wednesday, September 23rd, Reverend Eloise Oliver will be speaking on our monthly theme of September, Facing the Fear. Meditation is at 6:30, service is at 7. Zoom call-in information is at our website, www.oaklandcsl.org. This year is the 75th anniversary of the signing of the charter for our spiritual center. Make sure to join us for the parade and celebration on October 3rd and Sunday service on October 4th. Make sure to mark your calendars. It's going to be a really great event. And to hear more about it, we're going to see a video from Janine Perry.
Hi, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. It's Janine Perry again to talk about our 75th anniversary celebration. So, October 3rd, Saturday, I hope you have it on your calendar. It starts at 11 and it ends at 1, and hopefully you can find it. First step, decorate your car. It's an optional thing to do before the parade and highly welcomed. But please come either way. Put on your party hat, put on your mask, and actually even bring your pet. There's going to be our animal ministry doing pet blessings for people, obviously, while your pet is in the car. So arrive at the parking lot and wait for direction. This event is completely experienced in your car. So volunteers will be guiding you through the celebration parade, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I really hope you can make it. Tell all your friends and family, and thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Janine. So who says we still can't have fun, you know, during this COVID situation? So we want to make sure we come out for that October 3rd parade so that we can celebrate together the 75th anniversary of the center. Just a reminder, there are 10 more days to nominate your favorite nonprofit organization for our 2021 Nonprofit Partner Program. Application deadline is September 30th. Don't worry, the application takes minutes to fill out. It's very simple. You can download the application from our homepage on our website. Please do so today. A big thanks to your Nonprofit Partner Program Coordinating Committee. Also, be sure to check the Village News for more information about these and other activities going on at the center. And as always, you can go to www.oaklandcsl.org for more information. And now, for one of the best parts of Sunday service, we are going to, please read along with me as we go through our vision and mission statement. Let's all take a deep breath together. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are a welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday service. And now I'm going to introduce our pulpit assistant, Robin Rice Olmsted. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Wasn't she great on her maiden voyage as announcer? Yay! I am Robin Rice Olmsted, and I am a practitioner at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And it's my privilege today to do readings for you. So we have two readings today. The first one is from Ernest Holmes. The secret place of the Most High is not a location, but a state of mind, an interior awareness, a spiritual faith. And the second reading is from Ninoshka Dueñas. The one who has real faith doesn't need to evangelize their views or ideas. Rather, by living a life of faith, they will be a demonstration of the power of faith and will be a beacon for others to follow, a light in the darkness. So let's just breathe that in for a moment. And if you'd like to close your eyes, just join me as we take a breath. And just being grateful for the very breath that breathes us, knowing that it is indeed the one power, the one presence, the one love intelligence that guides the planet, that guides us, that has its being in everything. So knowing that it is the allness of life, I know that I stand united as one with that life. I know that I am inseparable. I know that I can be nothing but that love of spirit, that love of God, that love intelligence. And I know that not only for myself, but for each and every person in this service, each and every person who listens to this service, each and every person on the planet, that they are inseparable from their divine goodness. So I know as we stand in that, we move into the next moment, this now moment, that is indeed the only moment in time, the best moment, right now, the best moment of our life, as we stand knowing that we are the lightness, that there is no darkness, that we bring that light. So I know as we stand in that, we surround Reverend Savanna in that, knowing that she too is that shining light, that the word spoken through her is divinely ordained of spirit, that she of herself does nothing, she just allows it to be. And I know that as she does that, we all breathe that in and remember who and whose we are as we go out into this world, just knowing that we anchor that truth. And whether we anchor it from our easy boy chair in the living room, or we anchor it from a street corner or in a market, we are that outpicturing of God. So I know that we are the light. And as we remember and we shine that, there can be nothing but that goodness returning to us. So I know that we open our hearts, we open our minds, we bless our children, our community, our spiritual center, and spiritual centers all over the world that are anchoring that light as we go forward in this world that may not always appear to be what we would like it to look like. But we know the truth and we bring it. And so it's with this energy and with this honor that I just simply release my word and move out of the way. For I know that it was done way before it was ever spoken, and that its time for manifestation is right here and right now. And so we allow it to be by saying, and so it is. Amen. So I think it's time to get this party started. And who better than the amazing songstress, Miss Jennifer Johns.
Hello, family. I miss you guys so much. I very rarely get to sing this song, so I'm excited to do it today. What is love? Is it not the only thing worth living for? In this crazy world, I know we're needing more. My God, it's love. And it is time, the wretched of the earth, the meek, the cast aside, to know that they are worth more. We are love divine. My God, it's love. The bravest heart with broken dreams become mine. Of broken things, take to the sky, blackbird, reclaim the night, blackbird, be set free. Take to the sky, blackbird, reclaim the night, blackbird, I'll come. What is love? Is it not the only thing worth living for? And in this crazy world, I know we're needing more. My God, it's love. It is time. The wretched of the earth, the meek, the cast aside, to know that they are worth more. We are love divine. My God, it is love. It is my pleasure to introduce the illustrious and astounding, I believe was the word, Savanna Riker, Reverend Savanna.
All right. Good morning, everybody. So Jen just sang one of my most favorite songs of hers ever. First, before I begin, can I see all your faces? It's been a minute. Can you turn on your cameras? Let me see you. Say hello. Hi. Not all of you. Yeah, there you are. Oh my God. Oh, this is so great. Oh, wow. I see people I haven't seen in so long. Wow. Awesome. Well, it's so good to be back with you today. And gosh, this year has gone by super fast, eh? I wanted to say that before I begin that I am so grateful to have rain. We finally got rain here in Seattle. And as you all know, because you were experiencing it, the smoke was really bad here. And so finally, we can step outside and take a fresh breath. And I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, so I get to be with you this morning. And my talk today is actually about that. Of course, it's about faith, but it's also about destruction and letting things burn and what that means. And so I want to invite us now, let us just take a holy breath to just bring ourselves fully into the present. So deep breath and exhale. It's just good to bring ourselves into the present moment. Jen's song really brought us back to this center, this heart space of love. And my goal this morning is to inspire us to reframe our experience and how we're viewing what's going on right now in the world. So destruction is essential to construction, because a new foundation can be set once a building or a piece of land has burned or it has been torn down. And I've been using this metaphor often for the whole year of 2020 as we continue to experience the ups and the downs of the unknown and the uncertainty. And what I know is that life has never failed me in terms of my breakdowns. It has never failed me in my darkest moments or my most challenging experiences. And what has been birthed and born out of that darkness and that pain is far more valuable and worthy of my attention. And what has been born out of my pain is possibility. It is freedom and creativity. And so often we get stuck in our thoughts about the past and our fears of the future, that we can't let the past burn or the future burn with brightness for what is possible. And so in this moment, with all that is happening, all of our sadness about it, with our collective grief and uncertainty, sometimes the best thing that we can do is let it burn. A recent report from NPR reported that a century ago, California banned Native American tribes from their traditional practice of controlled burns. And now officials say that reducing the risk of wildfires means restoring good fire, much like the state tribes once did. And so every summer and fall time, as we know, parts of our country, we know this on the West Coast, are on fire, and the winds blow and the trees catch fire, and then more fires are created by firefighters everywhere to control them. And a controlled burn means that the fire will shift and change, and it will grow. A controlled burn is not resisting change because we know that it's coming. And so what do we do with it? What do we do with that? Well, we surrender to the burn, and at the same time, we take active steps to end the suffering. Because so much of our suffering is connected to the thoughts that we have and the meaning that we create about what is happening. And so if you'll notice about yourself, so much about our emotional state is dependent on the external having to be different, a person needing to change, our government to think how we think, an expectation that something out there has to shift for me to feel at peace and to feel resolution and to feel good about it. But what if the only work we are called to do right now as we navigate COVID and the lack of normalcy, missing our friends and our family, loss, is to let it burn? To really surrender to the nature of things, to let go of the things that we cannot control, and to use our mental faculties and the heart to focus and manifest the world that we wish to live in. Because what this teaching shows us is that our mental field is more important than ever right now, as we understand the power that that has, as our conscious mind continues to create all the time. From the what we believe that we know of in this teaching, many of you know the words to this. There's one of the what we believe sayings that applies to this, which is we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by the creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thought and acts upon it. I love this because it calls us back to remembering where our focus is, to remembering that our mental faculties are so essential right now and how we frame our experience. Ernest Holmes also said that nature will not let us stay in any one place for too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul. And this is a wise provision, for should we stay there too long, we should become too set, too rigid, too inflexible. Nature demands change in order that we may advance. And so when we surrender, we are informed then by something greater than the conscious rational mind. We are informed by clues, by interactions, by symbols, by cause and effect. And surrender does not mean that we condone or that we give up. It means that we take away the power and the pressure that we are putting on things to change for us to be at peace. So I recently had this really awesome experience. I had the opportunity to travel to Mount Rainier, which I'm sure if you've been to Seattle, you can see Mount Rainier off in the distance. And I always wanted to go. And a friend of mine and I decided that we would just go to the base of Mount Rainier one day and spend a day there and just go and just hike, because you can hike so many different spots, right? So we thought, oh, we'll just do like a 3-mile easy hike. And before this journey, I had hiking poles because I thought, if I'm going to be truly doing this, I want to make sure my knees are intact and I've got my poles ready, my sunscreen's ready to go. And as we left, as we started out on the trek, I realized that I had forgotten both my poles and the sunscreen on my face. And if you see this light skin here, I burn so easily. And so now I'm just like, well, great, we're going to be out here for 3 hours. I'm going to be a tomato. I'm going to be miserable. Luckily, my friend had a hat that he let me wear and said that we could stop as often as we needed to. And so here I am at the base of Mount Rainier, and we're heading totally into the unknown. He has never been on this trail. I don't know where we're going. And what I noticed as we were going along is he would say, well, let's just get to the next landmark. Let's just get to the next peak. Let's just get to the next peak. And I noticed how out of breath I was, how out of shape I felt, the conditioning of not being used to this type of activity. And what I loved about this experience with him was that he would say to me, okay, look up ahead 10 or 12 steps, however far, look for a landmark, and that's where we're going to go. And so I would tell him, I want to go right there. And he would say, okay, let's do it. And I would take all my energy and everything I had to get to the next landmark. And then once we made it, we got to the next and the next. And before I knew it, we had like scaled this peak and we were at least 3 miles away from our starting point. And I thought, how in the world did I get here with no poles and no sunscreen? And he kept motivating me. He just kept saying, you can do this, baby steps, you can do this. Before I knew it, I was on the top of the world and it looked like Austria. Like I got onto the top of the mountain and I wanted to just sing, the hills are alive with the sound of music. And it was like, Maria just spinning around on that mountain. And he said, Savanna, you should be proud of yourself. You did it. You made it. And you thought that you couldn't do it. And it was like, I wasn't trying to focus so much on Rainier because we got so close to it. But by the time we got to that very tall peak, he said, I think we could scale that one too. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And he goes, I actually think that you could do this if you believed it. I actually think that it's possible that you could scale that mountain and that peak too. So I said, okay, fine, I'll do it. So there I went, again, the same technique of, going landmark by landmark of that rock and that rock. And before I knew it, again, we were at the very, very tallest peak before, like right in front of the most majestic Mount Rainier, the snow, and it was just breathtaking. It was so amazing. And what I learned, and I want to share with you what I learned, because I think that it's a really powerful metaphor for our life. When I got up to the top, there was ash everywhere. And when it was the first sign that we could smell smoke coming from, Oregon and Eastern Washington. And so there was, it was pretty hard to breathe at the very top. And it was probably total round trip about 5.5 miles. And I was super proud of myself. And what I learned, the first thing that I learned was that this experience for me was physical, yes, but it was all mental. It was so mental. It was so in my head of believing that it was possible and pushing through the pain. And so much of our suffering, you notice, is because of the meaning that we create about what happened or about what is happening. And so we have the power to shift the way that we perceive something. As I was walking and talking to him, once I started focusing on something else, I wasn't even noticing the pain. I wasn't even suffering. And before I knew it, I was further than I thought, because I wasn't so hyper-focused on what wasn't feeling good. And so there was this internal faith that it was going to work out. And so have you noticed that a lot of our suffering about what is because we think that we need an emotional resolution from our thoughts about the past, usually, that if we just had closure, if we just had an apology, if things had been different than they were, if things were different now, we would be at peace in our lives. And what I'm coming to learn is that peace is the absence of suffering about the thing that happened. It is the absence of resistance, of wanting things to be different. It's the absence of believing that things would be better if they were different. And that is the rub right there. It is the absence of believing that things would be better if they were different. And so the only way for us to be at peace is to let go of the hope, that the past could have been any different, and to forgive ourselves, And to me, this is like, I've heard it from so many way showers and spiritual leaders, that it's giving up the hope that the past could have been any different, because what has happened, happened. And my thoughts and your thoughts about it is what will determine what is possible. And so it's stopping believing that the past should have been different. It's about cultivating faith so great that there is a divine order to life that is unfolding. And I don't always know the how, but I do know that I believe in a great power and that life is unfolding and that I can absolutely trust that. Faith is like a muscle, and that it gets stronger every time we use it. And it takes faith with every single step forward in my life, and your life will reflect back to you the fruits of your faith. Ernest Holmes calls us into that when he says, with complete faith in its presence and power, I know that all that I am and do is the divine expressing itself through me. And he also said, the secret place of the Most High is not a location, but a state of mind, an interior awareness, a spiritual faith. The second thing I learned was that setting small, attainable goals actually helped me get to the top. Changing up your daily routine, perhaps, your spiritual practice, it's coming back to the basics. It's coming back to the remembering of our oneness, of our connection with something greater than we are. That's why on that journey, taking one small step to get to the next spot, by the time, I was at the top, I looked back and thought, oh my gosh, it took so many baby steps for me to get to the top, to where I wanted to go. I'm actually teaching a class tomorrow that I'm starting about this. It's a free 6-week class about how do we look at our lives from a new lens? How do we take those baby steps? How do we come back to beginner's mind? Which every single person on this call, if you have come onto a spiritual path, there was that moment when you stepped into the classroom and had to say, I am open and receptive to a new idea. I'm open and receptive to a new narrative, to a way of looking at my life from a totally different place, from that beginner's mind lens. Ernest Holmes said that you must maintain a close communion with your true center, because your creative power is not an act of will. It is rather an act of your willingness to believe. The last thing that I learned is that I had to be in the moment. I had to be in the moment. I could not be living in the past, otherwise I couldn't get to the top. And what I also realized is that I was so out of breath that I needed to breathe, and I had to totally surrender. And I'll tell you, I hadn't breathed that deeply in months. Like, all of my anxiety went out the window because my lungs had to work so hard to breathe. And it was this rejuvenation of breathing really deeply. And I didn't have time to be anxious. You know, it taught me to be in the present moment. Your thoughts create your feelings. And as we know, then they create your reality. And as long as you are fixated on that thing in your past, your present, and your future are completely robbed of the joy that you have in this moment. I want to say that again. As long as you are fixated on the thing of the past, your present and your future are robbed of the joy that you have in this moment to create. And our peace of mind, what I know is our closure, our desire for a new world and a better future, it starts right here. It starts right here. One of the great Zen masters, Shiruki Suzuki, said this about that. He said, when you do something, you should do it with your whole body and mind. You should be concentrated on what you do. You should do it completely, like a good bonfire. You should not be a smoky fire. You should burn yourself completely. If you do not burn yourself completely, a trace of yourself will be left in what you do. I just love that. And so to put this teaching to practice then means that we take a look at the thoughts we have created about a situation that has given it meaning, that is holding us hostage. We get to examine those thoughts that are adding to the collective around what is happening in the world. And we get to ask ourselves this question: do we speak about it from a place of fear and separation? Do we feel that we are unsupported or always left out? Do we believe the thought that we are unworthy and therefore undeserving? Do you believe the thought that you are better off sticking to what is familiar and easy and comfortable? I think that it is an opportunity for us to stop believing your thoughts about whatever happened or whatever it is, and resisting the reality of what happened, and stop believing things would have been different or better if they were different. Because as I said before, true forgiveness and acceptance comes from that place of giving up that hope that the past could have been any different. It was what it was. And so how does this teaching then apply to the future that we are wanting to create right now? Well, as I was saying, it's about letting things burn. There was ash at the top of Mount Rainier all around us. There was volcanic material everywhere. We had it all over us. And I could smell the smoke and the fires in the distance. And I thought, wow, what a great metaphor for the life that I have chosen to step into, for the life that I've chosen to create, to let things burn, to let things go that do not serve my life. And that is my offering to you as well. Glennon Doyle, who I love, just wrote this book, Untamed. And in it, she says this about letting it burn. We must decide that if the truth inside us can burn a belief, a family structure, a business, a religion, an industry, it should have become ashes yesterday. The building of the true and the beautiful means the destruction of the good enough. Rebirth means death. And so letting things burn means that we let the thoughts that don't serve us in the present and the kind of future that we want, we let those things become ash. We let the things burn that keep us hostage and in suffering. We let the things burn that make us feel bad about ourselves. And we use this time to see this experience as a controlled burn so that new life and rebirth can make its way up and through. I want to close with this quote by St. Augustine. Faith is to believe what you do not see. The reward of this faith is to see what you believe. Let us go into a prayer now. So taking that holy breath and bringing us totally to the presence. Taking in all the words that have been spoken and the energy and the feeling tone of whatever might be present in your experience. I know that there is one thing that is happening all the time, and that is the activity of love itself. For I know that love is the greatest power there is, that it fuses itself in, through, and as my life and the life of all people everywhere. I know without a doubt that we are connected to this great power and presence of life that I call God, and I call it goodness, I call it love and intelligence. It is the thing itself that is birthing itself in, through, and as my life and the life of all people on this call who might listen to this later. And I know that we are never separate from it, that nature shows us this, that nature shows us that destruction is important to the construction and the reforming and repatterning of our lives. And so I know that we can never, ever, ever be separated from this presence, for it is the only thing that is happening all the time. It is flowing in, through, and as us. And so what I'm knowing for each and every one of us is that we come to an awareness of who and whose we are, that we come to cultivate that deep and abiding faith in the outpicturing of life and what wants to happen for each of our individual lives, and collectively for the world that we truly seek to have and to see made manifest. That we clear out of the way of our consciousness any fears or lack or worry or any scarcity thinking about how there's not good enough, and we absolutely declare and know that we are surrounded by this pervading presence of love itself, and that there is enough good and enough joy and enough abundance, that there are enough resources that are fueling and supplying each and every one of us for whatever it is that is calling on our heart's desire, for what we wish to see in our lives and in the world. And I also know that anything that might be holding us back, that if there is anything in the way, we ask for divine right action and guidance, that I know clarity for each and all. That where there may not appear to be a solution or a resolution, that there is absolutely a spiritual solution, that there is absolutely a way in the midst of the unknown and in the midst of the ashes. And so what is being born and created anew comes from a deep, soulful connection with the Most High for all of us. That we are brought into that knowing and that understanding that each one of us has a part to play and each one of us matter, that every single one of us has something to contribute. And so we let go of the smallness and the fears of the past, of whatever it was that has happened that has brought us to this moment, and we give so much gratitude. I give so much gratitude for the path that has been laid before us now of what is possible as we let things burn that do not serve anymore. And so with all the love in my heart and the gratitude, I give thanks for this prayer and all the more. And together let us all say, Ashe, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Peace and blessings to all of you. Thank you so, so much. And now I will turn it over to Robert Leeds.
Thank you, Reverend Savanna, for another wonderful talk. I can't get the image of you twirling in the Austrian Alps out of my head. Hi, it's me, Robert Leeds, your friendly neighborhood Jewish Buddhist scientist shaman, here to talk to you about the Jewish High Holy Days, also known as the Days of Awe. Now, we could talk about this all day, but I'm only going to take a few minutes to give you a summary of the meaning of the holidays, talk a little bit about the symbols and rituals associated with it, and then go into a little more depth on the spiritual meaning. So first, the basics. The High Holy Days are a 10-day period of time in the fall. Rosh Hashanah started at sundown on Friday. This holiday period is about self-examination, forgiveness, repairing relationships, repentance, self-renewal, and new beginnings. It's a very community-oriented holiday. It's partly about becoming a better person by bettering our relationships. For observant Jews, the entire month before Rosh Hashanah, which is called Elul in the Jewish calendar, is focused on self-reflection, identifying what needs to be transformed in our lives. And it's interesting that in this COVID year, many people have found themselves engaged in a similar process of reevaluating their priorities. So Rosh Hashanah is a 2-day celebration. Rosh Hashanah literally translates as the head of the year. Rosh is Hebrew for head, Ha is the, Shana is year. It's the Jewish New Year. Then there's a week in between during which one is to make amends for one's transgressions and to make commitments to live a better life, which culminates in Yom Kippur, which is the most solemn and holy day in the Jewish calendar. Yom Kippur is often translated as the Day of Atonement, which you could think of as at-one-ment. So the High Holy Days are both a celebration and a reckoning. Let's talk a minute about symbols and rituals. Yom Kippur is a day of fasting, which is seen as an act of purification. Sounding the shofar, the ancient ram's horn, is done many times throughout the High Holy Days. It's not a soothing sound. This is not music to play while getting a massage. It's a blaring. It's supposed to wake you up. It's saying, pay attention. This is your life. There's a ritual that some Jews observe during this holiday period called tashlich, which means a casting off. It's the practice of taking breadcrumbs representing one's misdeeds or regrets and casting them into flowing water, a river or an ocean. It's a physical expression of the internal spiritual and emotional work being done. There are also symbolic foods that are eaten. We dip apples in honey for a sweet new year. We eat a round challah, the egg bread, sweetened with raisins, also representing a sweet new year, as well as the circular nature of the year. And pomegranates, the seeds representing abundance and new beginnings. The story of the High Holy Days is that God is judging the world. Now, sidebar, we know that in the contemporary spiritual world, judging gets a bad rap. People have a lot of judgment about judgment. But let's reframe the idea. Think about what judges do. Bless you, RBG. They study and apply the law. Judging is about evaluating evidence to make a considered decision. It's about choice. So in the context of the High Holy Days, God will be making a life and death decision about each one of us based on our actions and consciousness. My older brother, who is a Hasidic Jew, which is a sect of Orthodox Judaism, once described it to me as God holding the world by a thread. It's that tenuous. On Rosh Hashanah, God writes everyone's name in either the book of life or the book of death. And then on Yom Kippur, those books get sealed. And what you do between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur might affect the outcome, but no pressure. Now, this may sound like not much fun, and it's not supposed to be. Spiritual growth does not come from doing easy things, just like Savanna and her hike. It's meant to be a challenge. It's a way of saying, step up. It forces us to engage with the possibility, indeed, the inevitability of our own death. And the point of that is not to scare us, it's to spur action. Don't wait. Cultivate your spiritual life. Attend to your relationships and work for justice in the world. So it really is an opportunity to realign our priorities and commitments to transform ourselves and our relationship to the world. A central concept to all of this is the idea of teshuvah. Teshuvah is a Hebrew word that is often translated as repentance, but the literal translation is return, as in a return to source. It's about consciously choosing our path. And a fundamental element of this is that we have free will to make these choices. Rosh Hashanah is also called the birthday of the world, but not coinciding with the first day of creation, but with the sixth day of creation, when God made people. That's intended to emphasize our free will and the fact that we participate in God's creation every day. When we make a choice about how we want to live in the world, we are creating the present and the future. The idea here is that we are given this opportunity to set the values and goals that will guide our year, and then God gives us the type of year that we ourselves have chosen through our consciousness. Very religious science, isn't it? Very science of mind. In an essay by Rabbi Asher Resnick, he writes, quote, "Ask yourself, if I was born this very instant, without the constraints of my various past habits and patterns, what would I do? How would I ideally want to live in this brand new year?" It's an opening to establish a fresh new direction. It's an opportunity to remake ourselves anew, very much in line with what Savanna was talking about with letting the past burn. It's also very much in line with that wonderful quote from Howard Thurman, quote, "Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve." That's what the High Holy Days are about. It's a chance to heal the breach of separateness that we have each created in our fundamental relationships, whether that's with ourselves, with God, with other people, or with the world. So let me conclude by wishing all of you a sweet new year, Lashana Tova. May you be written and sealed in the book of life for a year abundant in love and connection. Speaking of abundance, it's our conscious giving time. We are so grateful for your continuing financial support during these unusual times. You can literally or symbolically place your gift over your heart as we read our giving affirmation together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses all that I have, all that I am, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love as me. And so it is. There are many ways to donate. Perhaps you are already doing auto tithe, which we love, thank you. You can mail us a check or use the donate button that you see on your screen right now. Use it often. Or drop $100 bills from a helicopter, we're not picky. Once again, thank you for your support. And now it is my pleasure to pass the baton back to the sparkly Robin Rice Olmsted.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Robert. That was beautiful. All right. And speaking of sparkly, it is my honor to introduce our charity of the month. And it's a pleasure to introduce Shayla Gibson, who's here to speak about Shift. Shift's vision is to create a welcoming community, a safe space, and tangible services for women to rebuild their lives during a shift with dignity. Shift hosts families events and offers mental health, financial literacy, and other support services. And here to tell you more about our organization is Shayla Gibson.
Good morning. Thank you for that introduction. My name is Shayla. I'm very grateful to be part of this beautiful community for the last 3 years, and grateful to be a nonprofit partner this month. So I started Shift. We are a 501c3. We offer financial literacy, mental health, and other support services to women that might be going through different shifts in life, such as divorce or coming out, overcoming an illness, job transition. And more recently, we know all of us are shifting because of COVID. So we've definitely shifted our model because of that. Some of the things we've offered in the past that we are hoping to continue are resiliency workshops when people are going through different types of trauma. Also, for example, when I got a divorce, my kids knew that this is a huge change in life. But our first Christmas, I decided to still do a Christmas card with me and the boys, so they would see that even though our family was smaller, our hearts weren't smaller and we were still a family. And that was a really huge thing for my son. So for Shift, we've been able to, for the last 4 years, we host 10 women who've gone through some type of different life shift. For example, they might have left a domestic violence situation. One of our families, their daughter recently became in a wheelchair and isn't able to walk, so they don't get out very often. But we host a family day where we do the mom's makeup and hair. We have a food truck come in, professional photographers come out, and they actually capture the family as they are now after their change. So it's been such a beautiful thing, because after change, normally you are just so caught up in what's going on in life, you might not have time to just breathe and be grateful and acknowledge that you still have things to celebrate. So we do this family day, and then we also give them a family picture of where they are right now when they're feeling good, and also holiday cards so they can send these out to their families at the end of the year. And for COVID, we have definitely shifted. And what we've done this year is, we know a lot of our local small businesses have been going out of business because they've been struggling. So we've been able to, we had donations this year almost at $5,000. We've purchased gift cards from local, small, independently owned businesses and given them to different women that are going through, that were having issues because of COVID, that might not have been able to get on unemployment, such as small business owners, such as artists, such as singers, independent contractors. And so that was something we're really excited about, and we're hoping to continue our work for that this year. So any donations we're getting are being spent on local restaurants, mainly owned by people of color, and we're giving them to women that might not be able to get unemployment right now. So we're really grateful. Thank you for letting me share a little bit about Shift, and for your support. And once again, so happy to be here.
Thank you, Shayla. Thank you so much. What powerful work. So that's the Shift organization. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, musicians. Thank you, Kev. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for being here. As you know, practitioners are available for prayer. We love to pray. We are also available for sessions, but that's not what we're available for today. You can always contact us to talk about that. But if you have something on your heart today, we just invite you to stay around after the service, and Reverend Sally will put you into a prayer room with a practitioner, and we'll pray. And it doesn't have to be for a problem. We're really happy to pray when things are good, or for good things that are going on in your life. So join us, and we'd love to share in the moment with you. All right, so now it's time for our closing affirmation. I surrender into the grace of the one knowing I am divinely guided in all I do. Let's say it again, because it was short, and I want you to have an opportunity to say it with me. So taking a breath, I surrender into the grace of the one knowing I am divinely guided in all I do. And so it is. And now, Kev Choice.
I invite everyone to turn on their cameras for this closing song. We are definitely blessed always. Change my view. I want to see everyone. Blessed always, blessed always. blessed Sunday.
Thank you, Kev Choice and Reverend Savanna and everyone who helped out with today's service. What a blessed service we have had. And I would like to let you know that we have a full room of practitioners available to pray with you today. So if you are looking for prayer, today is the day to get prayer. And to do so, what we need you to do is raise your hand either in the participants window, that's the easiest for me to see, or in the main windows so that I can see you waving at me and we will get you into a prayer room. But in the meantime, talk to each other while I'm doing this stuff on the back side.
Bye, everyone. Good to see you all.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Oh,
Hi,
Robin,
everybody.
good to see you.
Bye.
Yeah, beautiful.
Great talk today, Savannah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Savannah.
Hi.
Practitioners, I'm opening the room.
Okay, thank you.
Bonnie.
All right, I'm going to start putting folks into the prayer rooms. Thank you
Hi,
for
Bonnie.
raising your hand.